Last night I watched the movie A Man Called Otto, starring Tom Hanks, Mariana Treviño, and Rachel Keller. And in addition to just being a very well-acted, entertaining movie, it hit all the emotions, and I certainly let the waterworks fly. But what it also reminded me of is that on our program and project teams, or maybe on our public safety teams, there's an Otto somewhere in there. I've always known somebody like that. So today I'm going to talk about, in Foundations Friday 97, how we can support the Ottos on our team. And if you haven't seen the movie, there's going to be some spoiler alerts, not too much on the story, but I'm going to describe who Otto was, who I took away from it, and then how, through these 5 traits that he had in the movie, how we can support that if we find folks on our teams that have the same traits. But first, thanks for coming to the Kev Talks podcast. Here you'll lead industry-leading best practices in program, project, and all-hazard incident management with a dash of jiu-jitsu and a smidge of health and wellness. So whether it's a solo episode with me, Kevin Pinnell, or one of my fantastic guests, the focus is on people, how we can share our processes so that you and I can make progress together. Thanks for listening. Now let's get back into this episode. Hey everybody, thanks for sticking with the show. Again, if you could, please like and share this on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review. Every 5-star review gets this bubbled to the top a little bit. Shares not just my 2 cents, but people's stories that I've talked to. Much appreciated. So on this Foundations Friday 97, again, I'm going to talk about characteristics from Tom Hanks' character Otto in A Man Called Otto that I've seen on my teams throughout my career, whether it was in the Navy or public safety and in project management. And really how the movie not only kind of reinforced perspective that everybody's going through something, right? And when you watch the movie, you'll find out what those things are, not to totally spoiler alert it, but it's easy when someone say a little grumpy, a little crass, a little something to just go, oh, what's their problem? But we have no idea what's behind that, right? So how can we support them as leaders of teams? Let's get into this. So here are the characteristics that Otto displays, and there's others. Is he's very direct, right? He's very direct with people. He gives very objective feedback. He's a bit gruff and angry, frankly. He's very meticulous, but he's also very efficient. So with those characteristics, I'm going to talk about how I've seen other leaders do this, how I've tried to do this to help support the Otto on my project team. And the first is the directness. Sometimes you just get folks that are unfiltered. Hey, I just say what I'm thinking. And I've heard the saying too. Sometimes people that say what they're thinking are just, a-holes. But that's not always true, right? Sometimes that's just their nature. That's what they've learned. That's who they are. And the first thought I have, if someone's that direct, is to check my ego. Like, am I getting upset about it because I don't want the feedback because I don't think I need it? Or is it truly the way they're speaking, right? Is it just a horrible tone? It's disrespectful, whatever. But really, for me, it's if someone's being very direct, they're giving you direct feedback, it's actually a good thing because not everybody's willing to do that. Some people are afraid to. So I need to check my ego. I need to accept the feedback if it's helpful and thank them and sit there. And I know there's a balance, right? Some people that are too direct are maybe off, but that's my first thought there. The second, Otto is very objective, right? It's very black and white. It's do this or not. He patrols his neighborhood. He was in charge of the neighborhood association, those kind of things. So very, very objective in his judgment of people following the rules. So I think we should value that, right? Because it gets rid of some subjectivity that people's emotions and opinions get mixed into, which sometimes when we're, standing up programs or projects isn't helpful, right? People's opinions do matter. People's bias, though, can affect what they say. So we need that person on the team that's going to give you objective, direct feedback to say, well, here are the parameters. Here's what fits in it. Here's what doesn't fit in it. And that's a great thing, right? Data helps drive decisions, and it can, or the boundaries of our scope or our budget or all the, standard things for a program or a project. Now, Otto's a bit gruff and quite frankly angry. He has good reason to be. And again, you'll find out in the movie, he hadn't had a great life. Some bad things happened to him and his wife. And that's a factor, right? And the way, to me, that I've addressed that before is to talk to the person. Realize, and I learned this both in, crisis intervention training or CIT that you use on the street. And then just from, these soft skills that we develop as program and project managers and just people being around for a while and as a dad and husband. And It's to talk to someone and say, you know what, I see you're upset. I hear the way you're talking and you seem angry. How can I help? Is there anything you'd like to talk about? How's your day? Is there anything you need help with here, or time off, or something like that, right? How can you support whatever they're going through to help make it better? Because that's what it's all about, right? The people. And so even if someone's not in a great mood, if they're gruff, if they're super direct, if they're acting angry, that to me is an opportunity to figure out, hey, what's going on with this person? Because, whether they're like that all the time or not, maybe they don't have somebody that's ever asked if they can help. So you can be that person. We can be that person. The fourth thing is Otto is very meticulous, right? He's an engineer. So engineering, and I've got engineers in my family, very meticulous in how they do things. And to me, that's a huge asset for the team. Right? So how can we leverage that skill and say, hey, we really need a detail-oriented person to look through these specifications for the system, or to look at this space that we're planning out, or, whatever it is where you really need a fine-tooth comb to go through there and get the details and figure out, what we're going to do before we execute on anything. And that is, being meticulous is a huge advantage, and having someone on your team like Otto that's meticulous can also be very helpful. And the last, and there's other things, these five stood out to me the most. He's very efficient. So because he's meticulous, because he's direct and objective, and because he's, a smart guy, he's very efficient too, right? So he gets things done in an efficient manner. He knows how to build things. He knows how to fix things. And, that's an asset to any team. And can we take that efficiency and ask, hey, how do you do that? Can we model that workflow? Can we model that skill set? And then emulate it, and then do a knowledge transfer from the Otto on your team to other folks, right? That's a huge advantage. And having somebody that, is so efficient can, save time and money and keep us in scope and keep us, with high quality and all the things that we want to do in a program or a project to get stuff done. So if you have an Otto that's direct, check your own ego and take that feedback. They're so objective, value that over subjectivity and not being clear or getting clear feedback. If they're a bit gruff or angry, ask them what's going on. Ask how you can help. If they're meticulous, that's a great asset. How can you leverage that, their attention to detail? And if they're very efficient, let's ask them for that knowledge transfer and that workflow and share that with others. Thank you for sharing the show, the Kev Talks podcast, with others. I appreciate your time, every minute you listen. And as you go about your day, think about maybe the Otto in your life, or the Otto in your team at work, outside of work, and think about that they may be very direct and they may be kind of gruff and angry, but who knows what's going on in their life. And so maybe they just need someone to ask and to care, and we can be that person. Thank you so much again. Please visit kevtalkspod.com for the write-up for this episode and more resources, and certainly the episodes with my guests that have shared so much, from mental health resources for first responders and then all of us, to some jiu-jitsu discussions, to being a genius leader with Anna Liebel, and just all of the other great discussions I've had with folks over the years. So thank you again. Remember, everybody, have a plan to keep everybody aligned. Stay informed with facts, not just fear and rumors. And get involved so you can make a difference in your organization, in your personal and your professional life. Godspeed, y'all.